Hi, Misha here, and this rather pregnant-looking rifle case houses something that is old as new, new as old again from DS Arms. And yes, it's amazing, it actually squeezes in here. A Belgian FN style fusil automatique Lord FALO heavy barrel. And this is one of two versions they do, all nicely wrapped up. Comes with their standard sling, standard DSA mag, and this one, of course, polymer. So we're going to talk about this rifle and its sister, as well as the history of the FALO, the generations, and I'm going to critique this pro and con. And this is built mostly with new production parts, although there are some original new old stock Fabrique Nationale parts from the 70s or 80s included. But this is how it is all wrapped up. Let's unpack it and dive right on in. As always, if you could, please do like, share, and subscribe, all that good fun stuff. That was the gun as packaged, all wrapped up. And I do appreciate how they put some kind of wrap on the feet, also on the barrel in this area, and they even zip tie this closed, and over the nice wood handguard, which you can see better now, hopefully. But that version was the FN LAR FALO 5041. This is the somewhat more deluxe 5042, going by the old nomenclature, meaning wood buttstock, even with the correct butt plate. And this one, just a little extra something, even has the wood pistol grip. Even if it's not, I guess, 100% correct. You know, rule of cool, and you can always take it out if you need to. But this version of the FALO, the DSA is bringing us, is kind of the second generation, the one used primarily by the Belgian army in the 1960s and 70s, including the Type 2 receiver, which was introduced in the early 60s. This setup wood with the bipod attached, it's got some weight to it, it really does. On the DSA website, it says 15 pounds, maybe. Then you look at Wikipedia, they say the 5041 is 13 pounds, maybe. I don't know if they're counting bipod or mag or not. Of course, this part's all the same. Type 2s really don't weigh any more than a Type 1 receiver. Of course, the controls, standard FAL. This is a pretty smooth gun. Trigger, yeah, military trigger. As you saw there, it kind of springs out on you. It's just new. But since the bipod wants to be talked about, yeah, it just comes out, latches, pivots. Does have side-to-side motion. Again, since it's got a new finish on it. Fix it over here. It's a little stiff, but that'll wear in. A little bit of rotation there. A little bit of traverse. I like how the carry handle does have a small groove. So when it folds, it's as flush as it can be. And it pretty much stops on this side. Holds down on that side. And then the butt plate, it too is a little new and stiff. And again, not the most comfortable in the world, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty skinny compared to even the standard one. But that's how they did it in Belgium. This was the second generation, with a lot of the updates and changes seen in the 1960s. For example, we have the Type C ferrule to the buttstock. We have the 3mm shorter rear sight. And like most nations, this is just 200 to 600 meters. And we have a new style of flip-up shoulder rest. Butt plate we'll look at more later. We have a fully rotating swivel on the stock. Like I said, this has a wood pistol grip. Probably polymer would be technically more appropriate, but hey, that is cool. But what I really do like, this is on a Type 2 receiver. This area was added by FN in the 60s because they were having some cracking and stress issues right here, especially for guns being fired on automatic a lot. So to have it on a heavy barrel, which is meant to be more automatic, makes a ton of sense. Now these ship with the DS arms, new 20-round mag. You still have an exposed gas tube, exposed barrel, short sight. It has the internal threads and kind of ridging to accept a blank fire device for training. So flipping it over, we have a standard charging handle, no forward assist, but that's correct for the Belgian style. And the standard selector, although of course it has the so-called beak, so it can only go to semi-auto, safe, fire, and then over here would have been full auto if this were that. It does have the later style horizontal takedown. This is actually all the original new old stock from Belgium, from the muzzle device to the coupler to of course the girder style bipod with the big old ski feet itself. That's Belgian. I don't blame them for not wanting to replicate that for just a small run. It makes perfect sense. Of course, the barrel is on. It is chrome lined, has a 1 in 10 twist. That is US made, as you probably would expect. And again, the wood on both handguards is Turkish walnut. Of course, the buttstock and grip are as well. These butt plates are actually made by DS Arms as well, although they are technically a limited supply item right now. But super neat that they are doing this configuration. And if you prefer the polymer buttstock we saw at the beginning, you can do that too. And that is correct to have the polymer stock, polymer grip, and wood handguard. That's how they did them. Probably the wood handguard just for heat dispersion. I heard DS Arms would be making a FALO. I was really curious to see how they were going to do it. Quality, and as I said earlier, I thought they were going to copy the Israeli. Man, if you don't have one and you just want one as a shooter, this is a fantastic replica. And while I do expect decent things from DS Arms, I was pretty impressed with a few features, although there are a couple that less so. So let's kind of end with some pros and cons. It's a good looking receiver, good lightning cuts, the mag pops in well, Type 2, but, and I'm sure many of you already guessed it, this is a cast receiver. I actually asked them if they were doing forged Type 2s. They're still doing forged Type 1s. And they said no, because they didn't sell very well. For some reason, most people weren't ordering Type 2 forged. The cast is fine. Again, the pre-ban, I hate to be a broken record. FNs were cast. They were Type 3. At least this is a Type 2 with the reinforcement back here. Frankly, in semi-automatic, you're not going to have problems. But it needs to be pointed out. On the flip side, they did a great job with the carry handle. This looks basically perfect. And the handguard is nicely done too. I would say, if I were someone else, I would gripe that this has a very matte, kind of rough finish. Very much a almost unfinished wood. Pistol grip is similar. Buttstock feels a little more polished. However, I don't like super glossy wood. I actually prefer this style. And you could always lacquer it up, tongue oil it, whatever if you wanted. So that might be something that bugs some people. So that's why I'm mentioning it. However, it does not bother me. And even the carry handle folds into the notch pretty much perfectly, which is nice. And this is all correct up here with the barrel profile, nice and chunky, with the standard sights. And I'm actually super impressed with the bipod and muzzle device assembly. I love this girder style. As a negative, I could say again, it doesn't ship with an extended capacity magazine. But let's just be thankful that we get DSA branded steel mags again. And as you saw at the beginning, if you don't want the 50-42 style with the wood, you can save a few bucks and go with the 50-41. It is nice that they do change the price. Pop the mag out just so we can run the action a little more. Feels good. It's new. You can tell that it's got the fresh finish on it here. It is kind of a Duracoat style finish, semi-gloss. The original pre-bands were a little bit glossier because they're more of a straight paint over phosphate. Same with the trigger. It's fine. It's an FAL trigger. It's a little stiff, new out of the box, but... And you can upgrade these. DSA has a couple of higher end triggers you can either order these with or put in. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it certainly has a lot of weight out front because of the barrel and bipod. But, you know, worst comes to worst, you could just pop off this bipod with this clip. It's not the hardest thing in the world to do. Just don't lose the clip or the bipod limiter up here. Those are pretty difficult parts to find. And as we saw at the beginning, it doesn't really come with the right sling. There's actually a longer sling that Australia used I like. It's essentially like an infield sling, but longer. That's what I have on mine. And really the only other gripe I have is, in this case, trying to squeeze it in, and it's mostly the bipod. You might think, well, why didn't they just pack these with the bipods removed, with these C-clips off, and just, you know, put them on? You have to kind of account for the minimum, and the reason is some people, not you, not me, but some people, you know who they are, down the street, couldn't figure out how to put these bipods on, and it led to issues. So they got where they just had to start shipping them with these on. Yeah, I know. Oh, by the way, this is actually a DS Arms made carry handle, not a surplus, believe it or not. This will actually close up, believe it or not. I find that setting it vertical helps. This is Misha. Hope everyone is having a good back to school week here. Catch you very soon around Labor Day next time.